Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Dead Space. Let's continue. So, we've crash landed, we've got this new temperature gauge, which I don't think makes too much sense. Let's just use a health kit here. I think that might have been a mistake, but whatever. In between this recording and the previous recording, it does seem like no, it doesn't seem like anything. I hurt myself, and so my trigger finger here is my left trigger finger is kind of damaged. The heat temperature does seem like it, like even if you're standing right next to the flame, seems to be kind of randomized, almost. So yeah, I'm not sure. Like this whole cursor seems to be pointing in this direction, which maybe I'm pointing towards the wrong thing completely. Standing next to this fire is getting the heat higher up fairly quickly, but not really quickly enough. So let's just run this direction. I see a blinking light. I think I'm probably supposed to be searching for blinking lights. I'm supposed to be trying to find these other people. So Isaac is just kind of talking to himself. Well, if I go that way, I'm probably going to freeze to death, so I suspect I'm supposed to run towards the flames. And we can get little bits of ammo and items, I'm sure, but that's kind of it. So run towards the flame is what I'm getting here as an idea. And much like the prologue, we get out of that fog part, and I guess the idea is that they crashed way over there, and we're gonna have to find a way around. Okay. Now I'm tapping A as a QuickTime event, but at least that's something. That was a bit of a jump scare. And that helps move us forward. By the looks of it, I don't have a helmet.
Ellie, are you there?
Yeah, it seems like I've lost my helmet. And so, until I get a new helmet, there's a +2 damage, -1 reload, which we're getting odd comparisons there. There's a weird question, certainly, as to how would Necromorphs be on this planet, and how would they move? Wouldn't the frozen nature of this planet hurt them and slow them down? If stasis slows them down, you kind of expect the same type of experience. And the wind is kind of doing a weird effect there to make them walk slower. I heavily suspect we are just wasting our time here. We're going to probably run into unitologists fighting us more than we're going to run into necromorphs. fighting us on the snow planet. And that would certainly explain the leader of the Unitologists in that kind of snow outfit. I wonder if there are some secrets or collectibles, like really far away. I bet not really. Not anything of really importance, even if there was. We've already missed so many collectibles anyways. I'm hearing what sounds like a scavenger bot. Problem is, you really don't have time to goof around looking for whatever's making that sound, because your temperature is just falling lower and lower. And it's just triggering some sequences like this where you're hitting blizzard winds. This whole sequence feels like you could just be in a hospital dreaming all of this. A white room with beeping sound effects. That would make a lot of sense. And you could probably fix some issues, certainly, if the third game in the series did just turn out to be a big reveal that the entire trilogy was happening inside of Isaac's mind, or at least the third game was happening inside of Isaac's mind. Yeah, I heavily suspect everybody else is just going to be dead. Ellie might be alive. There was the captain, it was her boyfriend. They just killed him off real quick. And it really wouldn't make for like good gameplay in general if they did like a prequel where you played as the captain with Ellie and eliminated Isaac from the story. Video message waiting.
Isaac, if you find this, God, Ellie, come on! We're freezing to death out here. I'm coming.
So there's four of them.
We're on our way to find some shelter, but I'm gonna leave you this trail of flares.
If the man's dead, Ellie, let's go.
Isaac, please be alive.
Come on.
So that's probably not your co-op guy. I would assume in co-op this would just be both your people walking through this whole sequence. And you just can't get burnt. You'd expect that there would be a system here where the game would push you further towards to being close to the fire but not being directly in the fire. And that must have been too annoying, so they must have gotten rid of that. So now after 8 minutes of just walking, now we're walking and following flares. Which, I just upgraded all of my oxygen, and the oxygen's not really even playing a role here. But it would make more sense if oxygen also included temperature. But I wouldn't be surprised if you fairly quickly find a temperature suit that negates or severely reduces
Ellie,
the issue.
come in. Ellie.
Alright. So that was a big monster, although in this universe I'm not sure if that means that was a Necromorph monster or not. It could be very well that the monsters on this planet are the originals and the Necromorphs are just the marker's way of trying to recreate the original species in humans, and Maybe then the monsters succeed better. I believe this is right where the prologue ended and everybody was shot, had shot themselves in the head. Interesting, this just waves and you can't grab it with telekinesis or anything. It's just flapping in the wind. Probably don't want to go down this direction. Probably can't crawl up here. Let's see if the flares raise your temperature any. No, they don't. So we're gonna have to get into this whole area fairly quickly. Is this a small little shelter? Yes, it is. Text log. Now we've got that annoying noise again. The SCAF military, being the old military. Pause now if you want to read this. Pause now if you want to read the rest of it. Is that raising your temperature in this shelter? No, it is not.
You're listening to Aloha Station, broadcasting to all the troops out there wherever you are. Remember, the colonies are counting on you.
So I've started this generator. Is that raising my temperature? Seems like it might have, because it turned on these heaters. Let's just, for safety's sake, check that.
You're listening to Aloha Station, broadcasting to all the troops out there wherever you are. Remember, boys, the colonies are counting on you.
So that's all the message has. Okay. I don't know if that turned on anything. Doesn't feel like this ship can be really that big. So, yeah, we very well may end up on this ship, but not spend that much time on there. That being said, this game is really just kind of rushing you through the game as fast as possible anyway, so I wouldn't be surprised if we have a chapter that is running through a ship like this, and we have a chapter that's running through a straight linear snow section like we just did again. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't really get much gameplay at all, and this all just tries to be abridged. Here we have a East Wing duty schedule, we won't bother to read, and a toilet and a sink that don't seem to be actually attached at the right angles. This whole building doesn't seem to be really slanted, so that doesn't make the most amount of sense. Over here we have a bolus gun. And over here we have a bench. And somehow that scavenger bot that we've had from the entirety of the game just now managed to make its way onto the ship. Which that only makes sense if the scavenger bot somehow got onto the ship you crash landed on. You have a whole bunch of glowing Christmas lights that I suppose confuse the issue. I suspect we may very well never get to Ellie.
Are you in range? God damn it.
What this really feels like it's gonna do is just give you a boss fight and then stall for a little bit and then give you another boss fight. So what do we get? A little bit of tungsten, not much. Now remember, this was the scavenger bot that I deployed when it didn't say there were any resources around. I just deployed it anyways. So it's not surprising that that wouldn't really have given me much. Apparently I can craft a new tool. Now I could make a pneumatic torch or rip core. But you can still really only carry 2 guns. And I still don't think I have the ability to craft something useful. Explosion amplifier might be interesting, but I wanted the stasis coating, and I'm still nowhere close to having enough tungsten for that. Alright. +1 rate of fire, +1 damage, +1 rate of fire, +1 damage, +1 damage, +1 clip, +1 damage, +1 clip. So switch that out to +2 damage, -1 reload. That's an interesting balance, but I don't want to make a big deal about that. It does feel like my health has just magically been recovered when I made it to the bench or something. Let's see, reload damage, rate of fire, reload clip. I kind of don't even want to do anything with that damage upgrade chip, because I might want to switch things back. Not that I'm going to have much of an option. We still have massive cost as far as tungsten to build anything. So the idea that I now have a bolus gun blueprint and a force gun blueprint doesn't really change much. And then apparently I have some kind of new upgrade that, or it thinks I have some kind of new upgrades. +1 damage, +1 clip. Alright. Safe wise, let's go and put that in the safe. Let's go ahead and put that there. And I think at this point we will just sell off a stack of bullets. Or let's even sell 2. Because we are just fine. Like, the only thing I could think is your inventory could get full of guns if you built a bunch of guns. But if you can't carry them with you, I don't see a reason to do that. And then do we want to potentially craft a small med kit? I don't think we even really need to. And then let's just see. We are not at the right height to deploy the scavenger bot, which I'm not super surprised. We're being shown very generic directions. We still are in a situation where we need a helmet to make it really feel like the game. It'd be weird if we spent the rest of the game with the helmet off in the snow planet. I mean, that would probably work though, because let's be honest, we're not likely to be in the +2 damage rate of fire, so there's an argument to running back and equipping that right now. Yeah, we could very possibly just never run into a vacuum of space situation on the planet, which would make sense. This is just cutscene stuff, so like while these are interesting jump scares, these are the first jump scares. Is that thing invisible? Or was that just snow getting shot up? Yeah, so this is a different area. I thought this was the same area. But apparently not. Okay, good. I guess I get a little bit rewarded for looking behind me and doing a little bit more research. Yeah. Until we just start fighting the Necromorphs in earnest. Like it really feels like there could... Wow, that one flew all over the place. It feels like there could only be a limited number of people on the planet. So we need a key. And it feels like we've got frame rate issues with these guys. Or it's a gravity issue. That my gun is just so powerful that... No, that wouldn't really make sense. It would, because then the argument is that the gun itself and all of that was shooting them less in the air because the gravity plating on the spaceships was stronger than the gravity plating on this planet. Let's see. Pause now if you want to read it. Pause now if you want to read the second part.
You're listening to Aloha Station. Just a friendly reminder from HQ. Be sure to have your ration card stamped after every meal. We don't want anyone going hungry out there. And now, a little something to warm you up.
So we have now 2 scavenger bots, which arguably maybe you don't want 2 scavenger bots in the same place, but also I think it kind of doesn't matter. I'm a little surprised we even got 2 scavenger bots.
You're listening to Aloha Station. Just a friendly reminder from HQ. Be sure to have your ration.
Alright, so I'm gonna goof around a little bit more in this area before we continue, because it did seem to me like there was a way to climb up first. Yeah, it's definitely questionable. Yeah, that was just an artifact. How many Necromorphs would make sense on this planet? The Unitologists basically need to start showing up and getting turned into necromorphs in droves for it to make sense. Pause now if you want to read that. There's a place where a necromorph could have jumped and out of, I guess, and didn't. The game won't make a lot of sense if we start fighting the unitologist on the first to begin with. Like, there really is no reason why Isaac with his bolt gun here should be capable of taking out heavily armed, one would assume heavily armed, unitologist militants. Like, there really should be no challenge. You should end up getting shot just like at the first chapter and nearly dying. If this is a case where the game is just completely glitched, like they did, I will applaud them for hiding the glitchiness of the game until the back half of it. They pulled off that trick, the bait and switch type experience. It could also be that they always bounced around about this much, and the difference is now we're in a much more open space area, and because we're in a much more open area, it may make a lot the bodies don't bounce off the walls as much. These weird sounds, they seem to basically come from nothing. There is, I guess, something now that the Necromorphs can just pop up out of the ground at any location. Oh, I must be full on inventory because I just picked up a health kit. But yeah, it also just kind of feels like the entirety of my gun is so powerful. Unless they were gonna throw some regenerators at us. Like, noticing my body temperature is going down quite a lot.
Isaac. Well, I'll be damned.
Interesting.
Where's everyone? They headed for a research facility up the ridge. We found snowsuits, but there weren't enough to go around, so I decided to stay behind. There might be more down in the basement.
Might be.
The elevator shot, and we heard something scratching around down there, so we didn't.
They cut out of the cutscene
We didn't.
when they
check.
should have just watched them
Buckle.
for that whole thing. So yeah, it seems like you can't grab this from the other side. Well, this looks like something you would telekinese with the blue, but it's not doing anything. Meanwhile, that's not working. We see basically everything we need to see over on that side of the ship, so maybe I just need to work my way around. I'm still not sure. Wouldn't suspect that this is all just a hallucination. All these people either never existed or died in the crash. Won't let me open the door as it's saving. I'm just gonna kind of run around here. My health is high, but my heat is low. Like I have like 1 degree of temperature.
Safety alert. A snowsuit is required past this point.
Interesting. So we cannot get past that point until we have a snowsuit. So what am I missing here? Is there a way up this area? This is gonna be like the one place where the scavenger bots might actually just pick up things that I've left because I've killed a few of the Necromorphs and not gotten their items. The pointer doesn't seem like it really points to anything still. Alright. Maybe I just messed up here. Scavenger bot back at the bench. So if I can get to the bench, great. Am I supposed to do something here? Nope. See, I see another dial over there. I see blue things. Am I supposed to be shooting these blue things? Locked. Alright, let's read the objectives and just see if we can figure out what our mission is. With Isaac's helmet malfunctioning, I guess it's still there. He can't survive outside these freezing temperatures for long. Buckle mentioned there may be an extreme weather suit in the basement. We could also use a suit kiosk to repair the damage to my helmet. Either way, it looks like we've got to explore the way station before going on. Great. We've got a blue line here. We have something that does not seem to have anything to do with telekinesis. We've got a wire here that goes nowhere. We've got a section here that seems to go nowhere. We have these annoying doors making sounds. Oh. Oops. Yeah, that's a problem that happens with a lot of games, certainly. You end up just not seeing the thing that they mean for you to see. In all fairness, there is just like no light really this direction that points you in that direction. If you're looking here, you don't see that door at all. Very easy to just have your focus on this annoying door making sound, or look up here, or be thinking that you're going to exit and come back through that door. It probably would be more interesting if some of the characters that you got to know, assuming you actually got to know and like any characters in the I almost called this the Binding of Isaac. This is Dead Space. Had you gotten to know any of these characters, if they got turned into Necromorphs, there might be a big emotional reveal when you have to actually fight and kill them. But that kind of doesn't happen, so whatever. I don't know if... Yeah, these are gears. So... we are going to put a gear on that over there. Fairly obvious. That's what we're going to have a bit of a puzzle experience. And I've picked up like 3 or 4 guns. Tesla core, compressor, canister recovery module. +2 damage, -1 rate of fire. Scavenger bots, when 2 return, gives us not particularly a great amount of resources, but it does seem to me like that was faster. Okay. +2 damage reload, +1 damage clip. +1 damage win rate of fire. Yeah, I guess you'd want to do this. +2 damage, -1 rate of fire just balances it out to a still speedy fire. I may decide I don't like that, and it may be better, honestly, just to get rid of the clip. Yeah, it is. Reload's not a big deal. And at this point, +1 damage, 1 clip, +1 damage, 1 clip. Might be better. Even though I still don't think the lower tool is actually doing anything. We can like craft new things, but we didn't get new things from what it seems like. Let's see. Creates a plasma cutter beam. Creates a rapid fire plasma cutter beam. That would increase the damage, well, decrease the damage for more clips and more speeds. Yep, there's still just nothing here. We could see how many small med kits we have. We have like 7 of them. So we're fine there. Yep. anything, I guess what I'll do is go ahead and put one more bullet here away, and I'm gonna not sell any of the health kits, but I may have to start selling them, because what I'm thinking is going to happen is we're going to very quickly find out that we have, it's just, you have to move slightly to place them both, so they probably don't both should, they probably both shouldn't be in the same area. There, we can shoot at it, but I think it's probably invincible, and they're teasing that as the big boss character that we're gonna have to fight. Well, that sure felt easy. Were any other gear places that we needed to take a gear? Doesn't feel like it. So unless there was some kind of weird achievement for taking the gears. Down the elevator or something. You can't really put them back where you found them. In progress now. Taking forever to load.
This is Private Sam Ackerman, 41st Engineering. I told them not to eat the infected. Then they started changing. Became sensitive to bright light. Just shining my flashlight would send them into a violent rage. I disabled the elevator to trap them down there. God rest their souls.
So unless we're gonna get some kind of new style of Necromorph, I'm not particularly concerned on the idea of just more Necromorphs down here. Unless it's gonna be a massive amount of Necromorphs, which maybe it will be, maybe it won't. It feels like they've found an excuse here to use some pre-made assets of things that don't look very future-y or spacey, space-like. I thought maybe there'd be a way to open this microwave, but apparently not. They seem to be drinking the same kind of drinks, that Midnight Sun drink. Unless that's not a Midnight Sun can. Looks like it is. It's just been opened with like a can opener instead of just pulling the pop top. I wouldn't be surprised if we find a lot of cheap pre-purchased, pre-made assets. Alright, so we've got all these frozen corpses that we can't do anything with. They very well may turn into Necromorphs. We've got more starving. We've got this like one golem-esque starved Necromorph, which I guess this potentially does indicate that Necromorphs don't really have the ability to starve to death. That was a case of reload being an issue. I suppose what this is supposed to be is a valid replacement for the children in the previous game. They probably got some flack. I would suspect they did get some flack for the Necromorph babies and children in the previous game. And, you know, in a lot of ways, that might very well be the reason why there was this move to make this more of an action game. These guys do feel like they are just bouncing all over the place. Do I seriously only have like 10 bullets? No. I can only hold 10 bullets now. I lost my clip upgrade. I think I would want to undo that.
Personal log, Sam Ackerman. 3 days. I've been quiet. Hiding in the dark. I have to get to the radio call for help. I think there may be a way around them. By throwing small objects, I can trick them into investigating the noise.
Ackerman! Is that you?
Oh, God.
I smell you! I smell... red meat!
Yeah, it seems like they very slowly turned into Necromorphs instead of doing it very fast. Which... it feels like it potentially happens. By actual infection instead of these guys do seem to like to really attack you in large groups. And my shotgun's not fast enough. Okay. I'm gonna have to remind myself that heal up very quickly. It doesn't seem like it doesn't seem like they can double team you so much, but there's definitely a case where you can't really shine a light on them. They will attack you in large droves, and you're going to need to be able to really take them out fairly good. If anything, this section is teaching us that damage is not as important as it might seem for these guns. You don't really upgrade them much by damage anyways. So I guess we have to play this.
Personal log, Sam Ackerman. 3 days. I've been quiet. Hiding in the dark. I have to get to the radio call for help. I think there may be a way around them. By throwing small objects, I can trick them into investigating the noise.
So this does just kind of feel very much like a Last of Us case. And like, when you're doing these quick time events, you're really not doing anything other than just smashing A because the game is making you smash A. Like, let's just be honest here that you've triggered a cutscene as soon as they've grabbed you, and you're gonna have to watch that cutscene for its entirety, even if you escape out of it. I don't see how that really would have helped you, like, sneak around. That feels like a facetious bit of advice that was given to you. Because, yeah, it doesn't really make sense that you would have been able to throw something over here, and then they would have all gone that direction, and then that would have let you sneak around over to this area. Which, this area, it's once again kind of hard to even find the place you're supposed to be. And anywhere you put a flashlight will irritate them, so everything triggers them. Audio triggers them, visual triggers them. They've turned this game somehow into a Last of Us stealth game, which doesn't make any sense. If there were stealth sequences in the two previous games, maybe it would make some sense, but they would have had to been really good, and they didn't exist. Pause now if you want to read this. Pause now if you want to read the rest of this. I feel like those guys are probably going to break out later and attack us. But I could take these guys on fairly easily if I just had a bench to upgrade my clip size and my reload speed a little bit, or if I maybe changed my shotgun a little bit to be more of a spread weapon. And it seems like we probably are going to end up with a sequence here where we have to solve a puzzle, and this time circuit misaligns, no power. Yeah. Definitely feels like they're going to give you way more time in this case to figure out what you're doing. Which means that optional mission in which we did this made no sense for that optional mission to have that. This is a big old spike wall. Okay, so we needed to slow it down to get to that point. That makes sense. And then that can refill our stasis. There was a section like this in the previous game So, I suppose the question is the duration of your stasis. It's definitely something I wanted to upgrade, but I'm afraid I'm going to end up getting a new suit, and then all the upgrades are going to change. And this is labeled Jenny for no good reason. Okay. I think what we would want to see here is the limiting factors on these puzzles. So you probably want to start somewhere like here, and then here, and then here, and that limiting factor makes an issue. Go. I activated it. And we might as well just shoot here and have a shooting gallery. And we might as well just pick up all the resources we can, even though there's a lot of resources that don't seem like they really want to glow anymore. So I have no idea if there are resources there or not. Let's just run this way. There might not be a way in which you come back through that whole mess, though. Because there's no stasis recharge on this side, and the way those two pistons, which I'm not sure what they really were supposed to be doing, whether they were designed to bore through ice or what. The way they're moving and the way that puzzle goes, it would be kind of boring to end up having to go through that again. No pun intended. Let's see. Make sure the working area is clear before turning on the pumps. So are they some kind of pumps that just happen to have some weird spikes? Now we have the supply depot key.
Take the security key and head to Depot 212. I haven't heard a thing from Sergeant Lumley, not since the Franklin incident last week. I'm sure I do not have to express the importance of the supplies stored there. Find out what happened to Lumley, and more importantly, secure our food and ammunition.
So that sounds like an optional mission. Yeah. Of course, we'd have to go back to the top of the supply depot to do that. Medic support handgun. This is barricaded. There's no way to blast this open? Nope. That would be interesting, certainly, if you could blast things open and open doors that way. I assume this just played.
Take the security
Yeah.
key and head to
So.
Depot 212. I haven't heard a thing from Sergeant Lumley, not since the Franklin incident last week.
Safety alert. A snowsuit is required past this point.
Okay. So we have 2 suit kiosks because of the co-op ability, I assume. So let's just activate one and see what happens. The Arctic suit has been unlocked. So change suit. EVA suit. Arctic survival suit. Yes. And this is the first time halfway through the game that we get to see this cutscene, which was a cool cutscene in the first game. Maybe not so much a cool cutscene 3 games later. And they've sped it up, certainly. That's not something you'd want to have happen in the middle of an action sequence. It definitely looks much closer towards the much closer to the original game outfit. By all appearances, it seems like your upgrades still all center around the same upgrades. Okay. So I could upgrade this and not use any tungsten, but I need transducers, and I don't know where I could get transducers from. It seems like I'd been picking up plenty of them, but the price is just very high on everything. I would still need a ton of tungsten to increase the duration of stasis, which is the only thing I really would like to increase. Everything else would be supplemental. And I would need a ton of tungsten to upgrade our health by another 25 points, or our armor by another 5%, and then another 5% on top of that. Yeah. And so that just kind of makes it seem like there's press and hold right stick. Now we can activate it. Let's go ahead and just activate this one to see if there's anything different here. We'll just change suits a couple times. I don't think it really matters though, because we're going to end up having to have the EVA suit. I mean the Arctic survival suit. Remember, these suit kiosks are like the old technology, so they should probably be different looking. And in a funny way, you can make it cooler than just having the doors close around you and you walk out with a new skin. Right. But yeah, we weren't really able to upgrade much of anything there, were we? So what I suspect is going to happen is we need to find a bench so we can get our gun to be a bit faster, even if it is less damage. We probably are going to need to get rid of some health kits, but like unless we start dismantling other things to get transducers, which is about the only thing that I think we could probably do, we won't be able to upgrade anything. We are in chapter 9, and by the looks of the number of collectibles, it looks like there's a decent amount of stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if you only get 2 bots without buying the 3 extra bots through DLC. And frankly, I think it would also be a ripoff if you do buy the extra bots with the DLC. I guess we could come down here. Like, we know we can't get all the achievements because it is, there's just so many of them that are co-op based. But we could come back here. And I guess we are just halfway through the game by the numbers. So a lot of optional missions. Well, let's see, what did we miss? Nothing on the prologue except for the fact that somebody out there wants you to play the prologue on Impossible. Or no, we did miss an artifact in prologue. We missed nothing on chapter 1. Then we missed an artifact, an EarthGov artifact on chapter 2. Then we got everything on chapter 3. And then we missed a co-op mission on the Borsalov, which I just think you couldn't do in single player at all. We should have gone back and checked that. I wonder if you even can go back to previous chapters, or if I needed to save scum this whole time, so I have a save file for each chapter. I missed quite a few collectibles, but if a lot of those collectibles were in the co-op mission, that would almost make sense. Otherwise, I just was doing a very bad job on that chapter. Then chapter 5, we missed a scarf artifact. And some of these are circuits. Yeah, circuits 6 of 6. That would be the more important thing to find, is how many circuits did you find in the level. And apparently I did miss some circuits. Although I'm just like swimming in circuits too, and they feel like at this point they're not going to give you any way to combine circuits or upgrade circuits, so it may not matter. Chapter 7 had no collectibles whatsoever, so I wouldn't be surprised if chapter 7 was just the landing sequence. Chapter 8, we missed a weapon part, and we are now in chapter 9, where we're looking for a bunch of circuits and blueprints and things. It seems like they're just handing you more and more weapons and collectibles. There's one optional mission here. Let's see. No optional mission in the next one. One co-op and one regular optional mission in chapter 11. Nothing in 12, so that feels like that's probably a cutscene. Only a small amount of stuff in 13, so that's probably fairly short. There's several optional missions, 2 optional missions and a co-op mission in 14. Nothing except for 2 weapons parts in 15, so that's probably fairly short. 1 log, 1 blueprint, 4 weapons parts, and 1 circuit in 16, so that's probably medium size for this game. 1 optional mission in 17. Seems like we're going to get more of these optional missions as we go forward. 2 artifacts and several other collectibles in 18, so that's going to be probably a medium level. And then 19 is 1 artifact, and that's it. And then all the Awakened is DLC, so we don't really need to concern ourselves with this. Yeah, I guess you could save and quit, but there is no option here to save and make a specific save file. So if you were going to scum save, as it were, for each chapter, you would almost certainly have to save and quit, find where in the user's app data folder or wherever else the save files are being saved on Windows, or yeah, I guess Windows, and figure out where those save files are, make a copy of it for each of the save files for each chapter, and then save that copy in a different location where it's not expected to load it. And yeah, that seems a little extreme to have to figure out all of that. So I would expect, if they are going to give you a game where you're encouraged to collect all the collectibles, that once you've beaten the game, there's a way to jump back to specific chapters. Maybe checkpoint restart. No, I doubt checkpoint restart lets you just select different checkpoints at different chapters. That would be bad wording if that were the case. Alright, well, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and get me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.